So Louis Rossmann's a content creator that I really look up to because he sheds light on a bunch of scammy, malevolent practices that big businesses try and pull on us or get away with because we don't read the end user license agreements. And his most recent video is his experience with what he views as a credit card scam. There's certainly no shortage of evil scamminess in an industry that tries to convince people to go into debt and basically become a slave to that debt. I've seen my own fair share of credit card scams, but I think this video just shows that Louis Rossmann interacts with credit cards in a bunch of wrong ways. So let's get into it.
Hey everybody, how's it going? I hope you're having a lovely day. Today I would like to go over what is in my opinion a horrendous scam that is being perpetrated by American Airlines and Citibank. There are many companies nowadays that try to trick you into agreeing to terms of service that you would not agree to by having it on page 30 of an end user license agreement, by emailing you and then pretending that somehow it's legally binding if you didn't read the email that you've opted into this new terms of service. Sometimes they will disable your ability to utilize the product that you have bought and paid for until you agree to a new terms of service. And in some cases, they will just lie about what you're getting to begin with.
Or just make it really hard to tell.
And today we're going to be focusing on the latter. So this is from American Airlines and Citibank. How many of you have been to a website where there was an offer as you check out to sign up for a credit card where they would offer you a reward if you signed up for a credit card? I've had this experience at Amazon. I've had this experience at Macy's. And admittedly, I'm the type of person that will do it. I will sign up for the card. I will get the $100 or $200 off, and I will immediately cancel the card. Sometimes
So this is actually a really common practice called churning, and usually it's for people that are really into credit cards and they don't mind keeping track of a bunch of different credit cards and they game signing up for a bunch of them to get the sign up bonus and view credit cards not as a scam, but more of a reward process. So I don't know how Lewis is going to turn this into being a scam.
I'm in the car and I just know I'm going to be stuck in traffic for 30 or 40 minutes because I've traveled at a stupid time. And when that happens, I will reserve that time to be on the phone and wait on hold for 30 minutes listening to crappy music so that I can cancel the card. It's worth it to me. I know I'm going to be spending that time anyway, so I might as well get $100 or $200 off.
That's actually a really smart way to justify churning. Normally, you'd be spending a bunch of time managing your cards and that would cut into your productive time. But if you have unproductive time anyways, like being in your car, then that's a different story. And that's, you might actually get more value out of churning than the time you put into it.
But I always cancel the card because I don't believe in having credit cards. I try to avoid debt at all costs. And above all, many of these cards have shitty annual fees. So let's go over this. So I decided that I wanted to take a flight and I looked this up over here. And as you can see, if you go to look at a flight with American Airlines, they will offer you a $200 statement credit if you sign up for this card. It says up to a $200 statement credit. But even though they say up to, over here, it says pay today, $472, card statement credit minus $200, total after statement credit $272.
So it looks like American Airlines is just showing an example, and that's definitely not something you could take as proof that they're going to give you $200 off. They're just showing you an example of what's going to happen. But they also use a bunch of language like term supply. Those terms definitely can impact that.
So be clear here. It doesn't say up to over here. They're providing me a very clear equation of what the price is going to be. And they're saying that I'm going to be getting 200 off. Total after statement credit, 272. Now, I decided, like an idiot, that I was actually going to do this. Because again, to be clear, while Amazon has a lot of stuff wrong with them, they actually do give you the amount that they say they will if you attempt to sign up for a card. There are a lot of issues with Macy's, but when I went to Macy's, I actually did get the discount as a result of signing up for the card that day. I tried to sign up for the card and I got this in the mail. It said, we're unable to approve your application. You have submitted multiple applications for credit. And again, this is really just so that I could get the discount.
Okay, this is the first red flag I see from Louis Rossmann's submission process. Normal reasons that credit card companies decline your application are that you have too low of a credit score, you have not enough account history, you don't have a previous banking relationship, or you have too many open credit applications over the last X period of time. But in all of those cases, they use language other than this. The language, you have submitted multiple applications for credit, to me means that he submitted multiple applications for this one credit card.
When you submit an application for credit, they lower your credit score. And since I don't use credit, I buy everything that I own with cash. I don't care. Credit scores are fundamentally useless to me. So they declined the card. All right, no big deal. I figure I'm not getting my 200 off. I pay full price for my flight. Now, check this out. I get this in the mail just a few days ago saying, welcome, your next adventure is on. I apparently have a new account from Citibank with a $17,500 credit limit, which is really weird because I just got this notice that I was declined, not only on the website, but also in the mail.
So this again seems to me like he submitted multiple applications for this one credit card and he got accepted once and declined at least once, which actually shouldn't be happening. American Airlines and Citibank should be designing around a principle called idempotency, where you do many of the same action and it treats it as if it's executed only once. This is especially important in financial applications or business applications that involve risk, which credit cards definitely fall under that scenario. And so if anything seems scammy on the part of American Airlines or Citibank, it's probably because of the lack of idempotency.
I did not screenshot it at the time because I didn't think that I'd be making a video on this because I thought that this was not a scam, like an idiot. But when I did check out, it did say that they couldn't give me the $200. Now, one of the things that I found the most interesting about this, again, they did actually send me a physical card. This up here is my physical card that I have the ability to activate, and I actually did activate it. And what you could see over here, this is where the scam comes in. So I didn't get my $200 discount when I signed up for the flight. It said that I was declined the card, so I figured I have no card, I have nothing to worry about. But then I get this shit in the mail that I was this close to throwing away. Because again, I don't have an account at Citibank. I don't do any business with Citibank. I would imagine that this is spam. This is the type of thing that I would throw straight into my shredder because I have no business with you. But thank God I actually opened this one because as you can see over here, there's an annual fee of $99 for this credit card. Any credit card that is forcing you to pay money every year to use it, in my opinion, is a scam. Don't do that. There are so many credit cards where you do not have to pay an annual fee to use it that this is a scam. Unless you have some sort of credit score that's close to a Johnson City, Tennessee area code and you're trying to build up your credit with a bank that will issue credit cards to people with very low credit scores, do not do this.
Okay, I agree with Lewis 99% of the time here. Except if you have a high credit score, that also might be a point where an annual fee is worth it for you. If you spend a lot of money on a card and the annual fee gets it so you have a higher rewards redemption rate or something like that, then it could sort of pay for itself. But those are only in very rare cases. Usually, yeah, for most people, go for credit cards without an annual fee. It just keeps things simple.
So what they did is they sneakily signed me up for a card that I was declined for and hoped that I would not notice so that they could fee me $99 a year. But wait, it gets better. So when you log in, I actually decided to activate this piece of shit just so that I could look into this.
There's actually a lot of leverage that you lose by activating the card. So if you think something's up or you think this is a piece of shit, don't activate it without calling the bank and trying to get that statement credit or flight credit back or whatever you expected clarified. Because once you activate it, you lose that leverage. So don't jump the gun here.
It says that I have over here 3,565 total advantage miles. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, they said I would get a $200 credit on my flight. So it's again, here, the flight is $472, minus 200, $272.
Okay, that's actually a fair thing to think. When you see this, you see you don't have any statement credit, but you do have some miles. But in this case, the advantage miles are probably just from other activity, like Lewis taking flights prior to even opening the credit card. There's next to zero chance that these miles have anything to do with the sign-up bonus for the credit card.
Let's take a look at this. So they said I have 3,565 miles. So I decided to try looking this up by looking at the exact same flight. If I try to book this flight, it costs $473. I guess they're rounding it up there from $472.60. And further, if I take a look and try to book it with miles, it'll say that I need 45,435 more miles in order to book the flight. So the flight is 49,000 miles plus $5.60.
Yeah, that's a rough redemption rate. If you're trying to book a flight with miles, there's no way you'd book this flight. American actually has a miles redemption chart where for most flights in the United States, you should be able to get a main cabin seat for around 7,500 miles, not 49,000. So let's look at flights on his day, April 8th. So you see his flight, which actually has an even worse miles redemption rate a day later when we're looking at this. But then you scroll down and you see 12K miles, you see 9.5K miles, you see 9 miles for flights that are on the same day. So obviously, if you were booking with miles, you'd book one of these 9K miles flights instead of the 49K mile flight that Lewis is attached to.
So I decided to do a little bit of algebra here, and I really burnt my brain to do it to figure out how much each individual mile is worth and what they gave me.
Before we get into Lewis's actual miles algebra, the Points Guy keeps an up-to-date website with back-tested valuations for an average of how much every mile's worth. So if we scroll down to American Airlines, it looks like they're worth 1.55 cents per point. So whatever Lewis's specific redemption rate is, I trust less than what you should be able to get as an average valuation based on the Points Guy's research.
And, a fraction of a cent. And this is the end of my algebraic equation over here. So, and now here's the part that I find the best. Again, so you said I get $200 off. I actually get $35 off or $34 off. And at the end of the day, I have to pay $99 a year in order to have this shitty card. You see where I'm going with this. Now, if I was actually getting $200 off, but there was a $99 fee a year, that would mean that if I keep this card for 1 year, I'm actually ahead of the game. And if I would have to have the card for 3 years to be behind the game. But again, this is assuming that what they told me in their advertising was actually accurate. And when looking at this, you can't ignore the fact that what this says you're getting over here is statement credit. To be clear, card, statement, credit.
I understand why Lewis sees miles and has a problem with not seeing a statement credit as well. But the actual real issue is that you didn't get miles or a statement credit for signing up. You didn't get any sign-up bonus is what it looks like. So that's what you should be directing your anger towards, or effort towards fixing.
What this means over here is that this is a statement credit that you could use on anything, not just American Airlines. When you say statement credit on a credit card, I imagine that means I can use this to buy groceries, to pay my electric bill, to buy a monitor from newegg.com or whatever the hell it is that I want to do. When you give me airline miles, this is shit that I need to use with American Airlines. Like, you gave me miles, which means I can only use that to buy flights with this particular vendor rather than giving me a statement credit, which I can use anywhere with this credit card, which again, in my opinion, is false advertising and really shitty. As you can see here in my flight receipt, there is no credit on the flight as well. So not only does the credit card not have a $200 statement credit, but they also did not discount the flight, because some of you may say, Lewis, if you check out, I'm sure they'll give you the $200 off on the website. You don't know that they're not doing that because you're not showing us here. I don't want to buy another flight from American Airlines to create this video, because this video will make $17 in monetization, and that's not worth spending $470 on a flight for. However, if you do look over here, the flight that I booked several weeks ago does not have any statement credit.
Okay, I'm glad Lewis is giving us enough information and receipts to actually figure out what's going on. It looks like his trip confirmation was issued March 17th, so we can reasonably expect that's the day he bought his ticket. But that also means we see this 75,000 mile bonus, which is the actual bonus for the credit card that he's talking about. We can pretty much deduct that he didn't apply for this credit card in the actual checkout flow of this specific flight, because otherwise they shouldn't be showing this notice. If they are, that's even more confusing. But also we see a couple more interesting things. First, Lewis put in his AAdvantage number. So again, that's probably where he's getting the points. Also, you see this bonus offer compared to this offer is much better. The $200 statement credit plus 40,000 bonus miles is, no matter whose valuation you use for points, much worse than the 75,000 American Airlines Advantage bonus miles that you get through signing up for the card normally or outside the checkout flow. So I definitely advise not signing up for cards during checkout. Instead, wait till afterwards. if you actually do want the card or want to turn the card.
I understand why this is a thing. And, when you take a look, there are many of these websites with credit or buy now, pay later, where they are actually telling businesses, you should have buy now, pay later. You should have more acceptance of credit because people spend money on things. They spend more money than they usually would when they can buy now and pay later. When you give people credit, they buy a lot of random crap that they otherwise couldn't afford, which is why they are willing to give you money up front in order to hopefully collect more money from you in the long term. When you buy stuff you can't afford, fall behind on your payments, and now have a 28% interest rate.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Lewis here. The whole practice of how debt works is one of the scammiest parts of the credit card or credit industry. And it's no wonder how Affirm and credit card companies make their money because most people do get trimmed up on the interest. So if you don't have the money to pay for something fully outright at the time you're purchasing it, just don't bother. Don't engage with these companies. Don't engage with credit cards. Just odds are you're going to come out way behind.
This is why I don't deal with debt. This is why I don't. Again, I have a very impulsive personality. I have a personality that is prone to gambles, to just general impulsivity, and I realize that about myself, which is why I do not have a credit card and I do not have debt. There is only one time in my life that I have tried to have debt, and it failed because New York City placed false liens and warrants on my business for taxes that I had already paid over 10 years ago. And as I mentioned in this LA Fitness video, a lot of people were saying in this video, like, you can't cancel like that. You can't just make a privacy.com card and cancel it because they're going to send you to collections and ruin your credit. And one of the things that I like about not giving two shits of a fuck about a credit score or credit rating is that these companies don't control me. If you don't have a cancel button on your website and you require that I jump through hoops and go to the post office and certified mailed you a fucking letter to cancel because I can't cancel on your website or on the phone, I could simply cancel the privacy.com credit card that I utilize for your service, and you could send me to collections all you want. I don't give two shits of a fuck. You can make my credit score 300 for all I care. It doesn't matter, which is, a nice way to live life. I've tried to avoid debt in my life as often as possible, and not just now that I'm doing better financially, but also in the early days where I was just completely and utterly fucked. This really is not some sort of holier than thou thing. I know myself well enough to know that I have less self-control when it comes to this than probably 99% of the people watching this video, which is why I just opt out of it completely. What they're doing is they're relying on the fact that you're not going to read the terms of service. They're relying on the fact that you're not going to see there's an annual fee. They're relying on the fact that you're not going to do the math and try to look up what these airline miles are actually worth so that you don't realize that what's going on here is false advertising. And again, to be clear, this is not always a scam. Macy's has done this, and it is not a scam. You will actually get back what they say you will get back. Amazon does this. For everything I have against Amazon, when you try to sign up for a credit card using Amazon on checkout, when they say you will get this statement credit, you actually get it. It's only with American Airlines and Citi that A, you do not get the credit that is displayed on the website, but more importantly, B, they will say that you are declined the card, so you will then assume that you do not have a card coming in the mail, and then when you get the card in the mail, they now, again, have the ability to ding you with this bullshit $99 fee that you thought you weren't going to get because you were declined the card. And even if you do decide to keep the card, you are getting $34 up front in exchange for paying $99 at the end of each year. This is one of those ways to decrease the cost up front, but increase the cost in the long term, which at the end of the day is what these blood-sucking fucks look to do, which is why I just go out of my way to avoid credit cards and debt entirely, because I don't want to deal with pieces of shit like this. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and if you are checking out on American Airlines' website, make it a point to not go to sign up for their credit card, because in my opinion, the entire way this is done is just a scam.
Okay, I'll do you one further, which is don't sign up for any credit card during a checkout process. If you actually do want a credit card, go seek it out for yourself because you're probably going to get a better bonus, and also you're not going to get co-opted into it. You actually want to go through the process, whether for churning or for actual interest in that card.
Again, like you say I'm declined, you send me a card with a $99 a year fee. You say I'll get $200 back, it's actually $34. And lastly, they say that it's a statement credit. To be clear, statement credit, meaning that I should be able to use this money on anything that I want because it's a statement credit, but in reality, all you provided is miles, which I can only use with American Airlines. That is a scummy thing to do, and I just don't like these types of business practices. And they seem to be becoming more and more common nowadays, which is something that I think we all need to push back on, or this is going to become become common in every single area of business, in every single area of our lives. Many people say, well, if you don't like it, just don't do business with them. Just don't do business with that company. And we're getting to a point where, again, we have to deal with this shit with socks now. With socks. I mean, we're going to become to get to a point where you need to have your own farm, and you need to have your own mill, and you need to have your own sewing machine, and you need to have your own room where you solder together your own smartphone in order to be able to take part in modern society if you want to deal with a company that doesn't do this type of rapey bullshit. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. And if you're watching, fuck you, Citibank, and fuck you, American Airlines, where you breathe.
Again, there's some shady stuff going on, but I don't think I'd call American in-city scammers in this story. I hope this different perspective helped, and I hope you learned something. Peace.